Corner. I am really excited for today. And the subjects that we're talking about with the Vacation Rental Corner. I do have some great guests with us today. I have 4 people from Red Sands that are joined here, which within our
webinar. So
I could just get someone to mute themselves.
Property stuff.
Can you mute yourself if possible?
So.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to kind of quickly introduce them. And then when I say your name, just wave and say hi so they know who they're talking to. First, I'm going to start with Clint. Many of you guys know him. Clint, say hi.
Hello, I'm Clint. You see me?
Yeah, and many of you know he is my husband, and he is the president and the sales manager of Red Sands Vacations. He is the expert in vacation rentals in all directions. So he's kind of put himself in every position there is when it has to come to the vacation world. And then I have Gail. Hi, Gail.
Hello, everyone.
She is our furniture and designer specialist, and she's been a professional designer for over 14 years and has just recently, these last couple of years, has joined forces with us and has really dove into the vacation rentals and has really learned the ins and outs. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say about some of the furnishings and decor that we do. I also have Soraya. Hi, Soraya. She is over our Red Sands sales and pricing team. And she knows the general idea of the rental rates and helps owners reach the full potential that they want in their vacation rental. And then last but definitely not least is Selena. Hi, Selena. She is our setup manager and marketing director for Red Sands. She sets up all of our properties and also does all of the marketing on all of the homes for the media platform. So now that we know everybody that is on our call that we'll be talking to, I'd love to get started. I know I got a few questions with some of the registrations, and we will make sure we hit those and answer your questions, and anything we didn't, we'll hit at the end. So we make sure all of our questions get answered. But I wanted to get started, and I'm going to hit the first one. Is kind of one of the most important. Of Gail, of course, it's going to come to you. It's about our furnishings and our decor. Kind of some of the most important parts of a vacation rental. And just a little bit, so if you guys are not aware, Red Sands Vacations does have a furnishing department. They have a showroom and they do packages for vacation rentals. And so it's a great idea to kind of lean on that help a little bit when you're looking at vacation rentals. But my first question, Gal, is does it really make a difference the type of furnishings that you put into a vacation rental?
It definitely does make a huge difference. I think that's one of the reasons that they brought me on board. I was a buyer in the industry, buying furniture for about 14 years now. And literally there is a difference in furniture. Not all furniture is made the same. Correct. So what we see is we get quite a bit of broken items if they haven't purchased through us. One of the nice things about purchasing through Red Sands is that we do stand by our product, and we have an insurance kind of program that will help cover those items. So we keep it kind of middle of the road. We want the very best stuff for the very best price. So that's what I shoot for. I try to get us in a direction like that so that it can still be affordable, but you have great product that holds up. The last thing you want is to walk in and there's a broken item.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. And not to kind of name anything out, but you guys have actually researched the type of furniture that you guys bring in that they would hold up for years, not just, 1 year, or where you're
definitely
and putting more money into your place because of
we don't want that. We don't want them to turn around and have to spend more money just on furnishings because they didn't hold up. So it's very important.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So, I'm in and out of a lot of homes, whether they're with you guys or with other companies, or even, one of the property managements there's only one. So I'm in a lot of them. And I know a theme that I've seen, and I've seen varieties of different ones, but like bunk rooms, would you suggest that in all condos? Do you feel like a bunk room is kind of important?
I think they're important because it gets your numbers up for your rental. that affects your nightly rental rate. And so it's really important to have those extra spaces for people to sleep. So having a bunk room or, a room where you've got like a couple of queen beds in there, you can kind of split up the boys and the girls, but it does offer a whole lot more. Instead of just having, you can sleep 10 in a room versus 2 people in a room, say if you had a king bed in that same room.
Right.
So it does get that nightly rental rate up.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. That's great. Going to my next one. So is there any like furnishings that you would point out that you would not use in a vacation rental? I get a lot of people who are saying Murphy beds. Do you feel like a Murphy bed is a bad or a good idea?
They're expensive. I mean, if you want to put in a Murphy bed, it's like putting in a sleeper. So, it's just another avenue to have 2 people sleep on that Murphy bed. So I just feel like for a rental, they're expensive. So we don't sell them as a result of that.
Right.
So we do sell a lot of sleepers. And recently we've started selling a lot of sectionals with sleepers in those as well.
Yeah.
So it's always there again, just another way to add more heads, places to sleep for people. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, comparably, sofa sleeper compared to Murphy bed. I mean, I've heard ups and downs like Murphy bed. Well, it's a bed and a sofa sleeper. But do you feel like because when people think sofa sleepers, we think bars and, like springs in our back.
Well, and they can be that way. I mean, we have the traditional one as well, but we also have one that is, it's a European made one. It's made in Finland. It's by Luanto. They're a little bit more expensive, but they hide away really well, and it is more like sleeping on memory foam.
Okay, that's
yeah, it's a nice way to go.
So they've definitely improved the mattresses then.
They definitely have, and I try to source the ones that have a memory foam, or that we could switch out to a memory foam mattress as well. So we're very cognizant of the fact that we want good reviews on our product. So we don't want a terrible mattress in there. Right.
Yes, I agree. So is there anything else like on furnishings that you would kind of make a suggestion, or is it kind of more of an independent one person, once they get into there has their own decision on things?
I think a lot of times, I talk to clients about this a lot. They sometimes don't know what direction they want to go, but style wise, what I try to do to help them is to keep it very classic. I want all their furniture pieces to be very classic, clean line, neutrals, so that when they want to down the road, they'll need to do a refresh on their bedding, their decor, things like that. So when they're ready to do that years down the road, they're able to keep their same furnishings and make it look brand new. So I kind of keep them in, we kind of streamline it, in other words, what we do sell.
Okay. No, I do. I like that. And then you don't have that big bulk expense in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you might have that expense right up front, but you won't continue to have to do it.
Right. Yes, exactly. Okay. That's perfect. So is there any questions about furnishings, Kate?
No, we don't have any questions yet.
Okay, perfect.
I usually want to know the bottom line, Holly. They always want to know the bottom line.
Right, exactly.
Is this going to cost me?
Right.
That is like, usually when I'm working with a client, that's the first thing I get is, how much is this going to set me back, And I think of it as more of setting them forward, because they're going to do it once and it's going to last them many, many years. Because one of our owners is really like, one of his favorite saying is that nothing parties like a rental. So you can get some rigorous bookings in there. So these items have to hold up for the longevity. So, if somebody has a question about that, they could contact me directly and I can give them a really good idea of how much it would cost for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 5-bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I could give them a ballpark figure of what they're going to be looking at for furnishings. Yeah, and decor. Although we don't do the decor, we outsource that through other designers. But I can still give them a very good idea of how much that's going to cost them.
Okay. Well, now that we're moving into that, so let's talk a little bit about the decor, because we know that is kind of a separate entity than furniture. And that was a perfect break to go into. So decor in a vacation rental, do you think that like a theme, if someone like went and picked a theme, is that kind of the best route to look at when you're decorating or putting up your pictures or adding those
I
accessories?
have learned from Clint over the time that I worked here with Red Sands, is that the whole process needs to be streamlined. And whether they do a theme throughout the property or not, there's a couple of properties that we have and people love that. There's like a Western one, there's like a beach one, you know, they could go with a theme and follow that theme throughout. But you don't have to. If that's not your deal, you don't have to do that. So you could have a really great look and invite in the colors. I love inviting the outdoor indoor. So in other words, the colors that you see in St. George, we bring those colors into the space. And what I learned from Clint is in those photos that they're going to be looking at of your property online, they've got to have some color. The colors make it pop. And people look at those over the ones that are like very neutral.
Yes, I agree.
So
with that.
We do have a
That's
quick
been the-
question.
yeah.
So sorry.
You're
We do have a
fine.
quick question from Robert. Go ahead, Robert.
You're muted.
I know that's how it always goes. I'm curious about in the themed or not themed, have you guys been tracking on the houses that you do have, which ones, you know, in similar styles or at least room size, if those do better than others? Because I'm just thinking through, like, the 5 bedrooms are the biggest producers, it seems like, at least from last time we talked with Clint. So going back to the decor, have you been able to see any percentage change in rental, tip top, if that makes sense? Does that my question make sense?
It does to me. Who would love to tackle this?
That sounds like a Clint.
I'd be happy to mention, we did some research in a Paradise Village 5-bedroom home, a Rambler, and we have about 10 of them. And this was the only one that was themed. And you can go see it. It's 110 Paradise Village. And it's beautiful. It has like this cabana family room, and it has a lot of these different designs in each room. I don't know if you can see me. I'm not technical.
Yeah, I can see you.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
I swapped to you.
Thought I might
Can
be
you see
talking
me?
to myself. I got you. Okay. So we did some research on it, and it was our least booked property. And the only difference it was is a really cool theme in each room. It had a mermaid room and an American flag room and some amazing things about it. And you can go there and see it for yourself. And it still struggles a little bit compared to the other ones. Now it's getting a name for itself. But I personally found that the theme, if you take it easy, you know, maybe you want a Angel's Landing theme, and that doesn't mean your bed's made out of mountain and, you know, you're climbing in a cave. That's overboard. But if you just did a little bit of theme, it works great. But there is too much, and so I would be a little bit hesitant on really going all out.
Yeah, and I can chime in too on this. I've seen that homes that do really well are ones that do like Zion National Park themes. Like, it's not going like too crazy, but like even having like Zion National Park like posters and like showing the slopes or the Angel's Landing, like stuff like that. Those homes do really well because then it shows guests like what they can go see and what's near.
Yeah, almost like a tour guide. It would make sense to make it like, because I keep going back to some of these are like mini hotels or bed and breakfasts, right? And what has always been the theme with those, and they're normally like niche to their local community, right? Like hyper local, and or at least to give the feel that that's what they are, right? They don't want to go to a corporate Marriott, right? For example.
Exactly. So you can do it. I completely agree with Selena. You can do it to a point. Like Gail had designed one, I think it was Gentle Winter's home. She had a beautiful picture of something up in Zion's, and she tied the pillows in with it, but she didn't go too far. And that thing really attracted. Your first 3 pictures are huge. It's real important. And if you see a picture of just a mermaid first thing, they might think, you know, that might be a bit too much for me. So if you take it easy, you can theme it with caution.
Nice. Awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah. By the way, that picture actually helped me sell the house.
Hey.
Yeah, that was the subway.
Yeah. It was a subway.
Why did they sell it? Now I want to know why they sold it. No, I'm just kidding.
why
We
did
won't
they
go
sell
off
it?
that topic.
They're making a lot of money. I don't know. It was beautiful though. It was designed unbelievably.
Okay,
Cool.
well,
Good to know.
this really runs into another question I had. can you over decorate? Is that is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah, especially with setup, we will decorate the home to an extent for photos to put that color in. Some homes might not have it, and we want to make sure guests somewhat like get attracted to that home. But you also have to think that you have about 5,000 people going into that home. That's not your friends and family and not people that you trust. And kids, like they like to grab things and they're gonna get broken.
Right.
And there's a time frame. You have about like a 5 hour to 6 hour gap until new guests come. And if you over decorate, that's more dust into your home. That's more items that's going to be broken. Especially if you're not with the property management. If you're doing it by yourself, that's just more cost to you because you're just constantly replacing it.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point, then yes, you can contact that guest and say, hey, you owe me this $10 lamp, but is it worth the review? You know, like, is it
Right.
worth me calling this guest and be like, hey, you broke this, your 5-year-old broke this vase and you need to cover it. And they're going to be like, well, I just paid $2,000 and you're calling me about a $10 vase. You know, so it gets to an extent you don't want it to go against your review. So a lot of times as a vacation rental, we choose not to go after the guest because it's not worth it. We rather, you know, just take care of it and get it back in the home. And
Yep.
when
And Gail-
owners do go on with us, we've gotten to a point that we do have to set their expectations about decor because guests and kids will get into it and they will break things.
Right. So basically mindset going in when you're looking to redecorate or decorate your place, keep in mind the cost. If it breaks or someone takes it, is that gonna bother you? Is that gonna hurt? Because if
Yeah.
it does, don't put it in there. Anything
That or go get some decoration, of course, and then just don't buy a $1,000 lamp. Like
Right.
it's just
right. So yeah, look at your costs when you're doing little things like that.
exactly.
Yes. Okay, absolutely. I love that. All right, you guys. Okay, so I have one more question about the interior. And anybody can just jump in, but I get a lot about like rugs because a lot of our vacation rental nows are tile all the way through, you know, things like that. Do you suggest rugs, like throw rugs, like at the entries and the bathrooms?
There's
those
a couple places that I would put it, and you kind of mentioned them, but entryway, you need something that makes the room feel inviting, but I like to do an indoor outdoor or something that's got a little bit of weight to it, so it's going to stay in place. Those are, you know, even runners in the entry, so something like that, not costly, you know. I'm talking $50 to $100, so that if it does get, you know, messed up, somebody, you know, ran their suitcase over it or whatever and it messed it up, it's easily replaced. But in your living room, your main living area, it's usually on tile and it anchors the room to have it. You kind of have to think of it as your fifth wall. And so you put that rug down in that room for sure. I'm not a fan of having them underneath the dining tables just because it's harder on the cleaners and it's really hard on that rug. So I don't suggest them there, but I do suggest for bathrooms, like just as a kind of a rule of thumb for a rest, you know, for one of the bathrooms, is to have the rugs in front of the vanity just as your decorative ones, because you'll already have, you know, your tub mats that you're going to step out onto a bath mat. So you don't need it in front of the bath, but in front of the vanities, yes, just as another way to bring in some color.
Okay. So, because I've heard a lot of feedback, like, I don't know, maybe it's been a little history for me too. They can get dirty really fast. So would you suggest something that's light, easy to wash, throw in the washing machine?
Yeah.
Did you get those big ones? Yeah, those thick ones that you can't really throw in a washing machine. Would you discourage those ones?
I would. Yeah, there's a place to have like wool in a rug, which would be like the main living area, but not in one of the restrooms.
Where you would do the professional cleaning.
Right.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. That was all on that. Does anybody have any questions on any of the furnishings, decor, or anything?
It looks like
We don't have a question, but Kelby Sorensen, she just said that she started using washable rugs and they're more expensive, but it's been a game changer for her.
Agree.
I was actually just going to say that there's actually a company called Ruggable where you can go and they actually have those where you just detach it and you throw it in the washer and then you put it back and it's still weighted and still really nice.
Cool idea.
Yes.
Cool idea. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say Ruggable as well. We had my wife and I bought 2 for our own house, and using them, they're okay for the house, like me living with them, but I could totally see how they're amazing for rentals. That they would really be great.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. I have a guy, actually Steve Kramer, Clint. I don't
Yeah.
know. You've been working with him
Right.
just recently. So he was saying he wanted to put like Xbox and like arcade games and things like that in there. Did you walk through that with him, and how did that go? And I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. In fact, I think it's coming.
That's our next subject. So we
Yeah,
can go
you-
right
you-
into it.
read our mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I felt like that was kind of, that reminded me of like decor and
It's pretty
items
much
like in the
decor.
house. Sorry.
Good. You're good. Totally.
I'd be happy to answer it if it's all right. Huh?
Absolutely.
You know, I did suggest the game stations and the things that really make your home pop. There'll be things that such as, you know, some people don't think about crock pot versus Instapot. Things have changed over the last couple of years, and
Mhm.
you know, a PlayStation in the bunk room, it's a huge plus. It's something that the kids will look at and say, I don't really want that when there's no TV in the bunk room. And so it has a big play into your renting, you know, as well as even the garage. They'll put TVs out in the garage with a PlayStation. It's a big hit. You can go on my website and look at Paseos, and there's a garage that's just decked out. It has a kitchen, 2 TVs, 2 PlayStations, a little fan, an AC unit. I think
Awesome.
that's another one Gail designed, and it's a big hit. You know, some of that stuff, and it's not that expensive to make a garage an extra room. But as far as the small things, the PlayStation Xbox is a big hit for sure. That was a long answer.
Yeah. Well, no, that's great. Actually, do you feel it? That by adding those things, because I know people have added 2 or 3, and I get, you know, I mean, I don't know a vacation rental home. Very rarely do I see it not have a ping pong table in the garage.
Right.
But do you feel like the revenue goes up, or is it more? It probably get occupied more often than the other ones. What do you feel those smaller items that you would add, like the games and things, would do?
Such as the ping pong table. It is a big hit. A lot of people look for those, and it, like I say, it creates another room. If you have a 5-bedroom, you really have a 6, because you have that ping pong table, you have a little area over it that you could be watching the Jazz game and sitting out there playing some darts. These little things, you know, we added, like, here's another, you know, we have a lot of, not secret, but little things that we go in and ask each home. And I'll give you one of them is out on the back deck. You know, it's hot, it's 110 degrees. You're trying to barbecue out there. You just take this little misting system, and it's about $140 installed. You know, it's about $100 plus installation. And these 5 little misters that are coming down, and they're a little bit of pain every year. You got to clean them. But you set this picture of this barbecue, the sunset, some soft mist, and they think, hey, I could sit out there and barbecue. It's not so hot. And it is practical. And like I said, that small cost goes a long way. It's something your neighbor won't have. You know, now there might be a few of them with it, but you know, I have a lot of little things like that I add to make your home unique. And it doesn't cost a ton of money, but PlayStations should be in every single bunk room, in my opinion. And even the game room. I have one home, in fact, in Paradise has 7 PlayStations.
Clint, so Tyler Hooper, he just had a question. He said, is there really much of a difference between having a PlayStation or an Xbox? Is one better than the other?
So in my research, and I hope I'm not stealing all the fame here, but you know, PlayStation's the #1 sold box in America. It was when I last looked. And there's a lot of things that I like about PlayStation, as far as having to have a certain account to log on. Every kid or teenager has their own account anyway they're going to log on with. But with Xbox, unless things have changed, you have to pay for a monthly account to even use it. Where PlayStation, I just download $70 worth of rated G games. You know, we're talking ping pong, Monopoly, clay pigeon shooting. No rated PG, no rated R. The kids will bring them with them, and they'll take them with them. So for review reasons, you never want anything but rated G games. So we download it in the PlayStation, and that's why I'm a fan of PlayStation. Now they might have upgraded the Xbox, and now it does that as well. But that's why I vote for PlayStation over Xbox.
I can help with that too. PlayStations, I do find it easier for guests as well, because you never, if you're gonna do an amenity like an adding amenity like an Xbox and a PS4. For starters, never get DVD. Just do downloads. It's easier for you as an owner, as well as for your property management, just because of the wear and tear in the DVD in general. But PlayStation, you are able to do a subscription that you pay a year, and it's like $50, and they're able to do hundreds of games, and that's already what you're able to offer the guests. There is an extent of like for a ping pong table and an arcade games, and like even a coffee maker. Even adding a coffee maker is huge, but you don't want to go too. You can go expensive, but you don't want to go too expensive that it becomes so hard, like for the guests to figure out. So like
Right.
sometimes like you want a coffee maker, but you want the best kind. You want one. You want to offer an espresso maker. You want to offer this, but our guests will call us and they're like, "How do I work this? Like, I just want coffee." And you're just like, "That is a great question. It's on clean mode now." And so like a lot of times we'll just tell owners, just get a Mr. Coffee. Like it's easy. You just push one button. So you have to kind of like bring things down, and you want to make sure it's easy and accessible for guests to use, because like that's why we always recommend Roku, because it says Netflix, Hulu, and ESPN. That's as easy as you can get, and guests won't complain about it.
Selena, sorry, just one quick question. Nathan, he just had a clarification question. He asked, do we need to buy downloads and download those, or do you guys have a corporate account that they can just use?
It's up to you. So we can do it as a reoccurring account, and it could take from your owner statement. But yes, we are more than capable to create an account for you, and we will create a login and password that you, of course, are accessible to, and we would just make that a reoccurring to your account that would just charge your account once a month.
Did that answer your question, Nathan? Hopefully. Okay, well, good. You guys hit all that. I didn't even have to say anything. That was it. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to talk about are our big ticket items. Clint, you're the one that I'm going to be talking to most about it. We talk about it a lot. So, you know, pools, hot tubs, swim tubs, if they're applicable and you can do them, be honest. And I get a lot of questions around this. Can this item really actually make a difference?
Right. I'll give you the recent example that I might throw at you in Copper Rock. You know, I don't know if anybody, went to the Parade of Homes, the big $5-6 million home out there in the cul-de-sac. There was 3 or 4 of them, but the biggest one we now have online. You can rent that home with us. And right now we're negotiating a booking for the 23rd of April for 10 days, and it's over $40,000. And the way you get that kind of big number is the pool is out of this world. It's probably one of the coolest ones in St. George.
Sorry,
Yeah.
dude. That was amazing. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a big booking. And we're negotiating because we're not interested. It actually needs to be closer to 50 because it's the LPGA tournament at that time, April 23rd. So these numbers, they think 6 million, how could you make anything off this booking? Well, the truth is, if you decide to make money, you know how to do it, you can. Homes right next to it that don't have a cool pool and doesn't have anything, their home is $1,000 a night. Ours is $4,500 a night. So the difference in this pool, we have a pool, a hot tub, an upstairs hot tub, 2 different game stations, huge TVs. Every little thing you put into this shows up on these sites. So is the big ticket items worth it? The answer is absolutely. I can show you a home without a pool, getting 120 a night. The home right next to it in Ladera, they're both 3 bedrooms, is getting 600 a night. And just look at the backyard. You can go to my Ladera Red Sands Vacations and pull up Ladera, look at the 2 3-bedroom homes, and it's literally 100,000 versus 30. So, I always conservatively say 30 to 40%, and that is conservative. It is a huge deal when you max out a backyard. It's everything. So I actually go in and help design. I have some clients that are so great at designing, and I've stolen a lot of ideas. We spend millions of dollars a month learning things from advertising, reviews, and backyards, what sell. And now I've started to design my backyards with the pools and swim tubs, vaults into the ground. They're the ones that are winning in a huge way. And the big ticket items such as those are what no one dares to do, but that's what it's going to take to step up to be the top 5% rental in St. George.
Right. Okay, exactly. And then, so say you have like a townhome or a condo, and they do allow hot tubs, but you can't put anything bigger than that, right? But you can put it in a hot tub. Does that make a difference to those?
It's still a huge difference. It'll take the place of, say you have 2 homes right next to each other, and we have a picture of a hot tub and the moon's coming up. We have this picture. You can, I keep referring to my website. We have some in Coral Ridge, And some of those homes go for $100 a night, and ours will be up there 2, 3, 4, 400, 500 a night. And in this market, 2 years ago, that same home was 3, 4, maybe 500,000. In today's market, just add 30 or 40% to that. They could be as high as 6, 7, 8, 900,000. If you keep it the way it was back then, you're going to get the same return and pay a lot more money. The way you're winning is if you buy a home, the first thing you do is deck out the garage, deck out the backyard with the hot tub. And now they're looking at yours and one next to you that's pretty much in original condition. The same applies as far as the rental rate and the occupancy.
Right.
Yeah, and marketing goes hand in hand with that. It's one of the biggest searches on VRBO and Airbnb is private spa. And if you don't have a private spa, your house is already filtered out. Like just by
Good
then.
point.
That goes in with the extra amenities, ping pong tables on there, foosball tables on there. So if you don't have those and someone puts foosball table, then your house will not show up.
Yes. Okay. So hitting all the lines of everything. And also you got to look at too. I mean, what I look at with clients too is what do you like? So you're gonna bring in the people that you like. So if you like ping pong, most likely you're gonna bring those people in that like the ping pong. So was there anything else that like on the outside that are some good things that you could add that would actually add a benefit to that where they would pick your property before they'd pick anybody else's?
The lights, like having little twinkle lights is huge.
On the pergola.
Privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, privacy is huge. Especially with the townhomes. With private homes, it's not too bad because they're pretty big yards, but resort style, those are harder because they are really close together. So a lot of I've noticed in Alcatilla Resort, we have a lot of properties that look the exact same, but one does really well just because he has curtains in the back blocking the private hot tub. So so it does make a difference.
Okay. Yeah.
And fire pits, Holly, that's another one, fire pits, so that they can
Yeah.
fire at night and sit out by that. It's a huge deal.
Yes.
Good
That was
point,
one.
Gail. It's a big one. Now, I'll give you another little tip. I can share a couple. I try to, we kind of have become specialists at setting your home apart. But say your home has a lot of stars. You're in a place where you can see a lot of stars, and you get a star, a telescope, and you even name your home, stargazers. We've done that before, and just a lot of kids. Whoa! Look at the picture. We could see stars. These little things, and you can spend a lot on that, but you can get one also for $200 or $300. These little things thinking outside the box can go a long way. Not a million things. So that falls into what Selena was saying. Everything's going to get broken, but one or two really cool ideas,
Right.
and capitalize on it with the photo. Your photos, you don't know how critical it is. We've done a lot of research what your first, second, and third photo really should be, depending on where you're at. And you have to think of every part. The pictures are a big deal. Having that one cool piece in there, such as the mister that I explained, can be the difference of them picking yours over your neighbor.
Right. Do you guys feel like I had a question beforehand from Leslie Goff that asked, she's bought an already rental. So everything was already in it the way she bought it. And so basically she didn't have to start fresh, but do you think there's anything different that you would do? Like we've gone through a lot of scenarios and things they can add and things they do. Basically this is exactly what she needs to do to bring up that condo up to.
She's already doing some of those items,
Yeah.
Holly. She's already, putting in a king size bed in her master, which only had a queen.
Yes.
She is making a lot of really great changes already.
Good.
She has limited space though for like entertainment, extra in amenities and things like that. So
Yeah.
but I think
Coral
she's
Springs doesn't give a lot of room for like adding extra amenities. I know when we get new properties that are resales, as a setup, we go in and do a walkthrough and let owners know like, okay, what can you do better for this home? But that does start with the photos. We do a new photo shoot for the home. We give a new perspective with the home, new description. And it also goes into if the owner wants to rename their home as well.
Oh, okay. Cool. So
We do have a quick question from Robert. Go ahead, Robert.
Perfect.
You're on mute.
You.
Someone muted you.
I muted me because I'm afraid I got my dog in here and she's gonna like start barking. How many properties are you guys managing right now?
Selena, around?
172.
Wow,
Or,
wow,
yeah.
great job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, actually. Okay, so I think we kind of hit on everything. We talked about the garages. We talked about everything that was on my list. Like as far as like the inside kitchen things like that, you guys had mentioned a little bit about an Instapot instead of crock pots. Do you think it's something they need to do both of? Is there anything else in a kitchen that would is like something like besides the things that kind of you've already talked about that you would feel they need to add to their kitchen?
Yeah, you have your basic essentials, you know, with the kitchen. You want to get your coffee maker, blender, stuff like that, forks, knives. I do know that with, for example, one of our biggest properties, Paradise Village 107, his home does so well because it has a stock kitchen. Because his reviews are crazy because guests are commenting about how amazing his kitchen is and how stock it is, and they don't have to go to Smith's to go get foil, and that actually it saves the guest a trip. And if they can save that trip, they're going to book your home.
Okay, so you do suggest like maybe do those small things, foil,
Yeah.
salt, and pepper, you know, have
Like
seasoning salt.
spices aren't too bad of a thing. It is on the owner though. So like to an extent, like if they are going to be doing spices and foil, that's up to you if you want to obtain that. So
Okay, yes.
But that home also has like a bread maker, an ice maker. I mean, he really
Yeah.
went all out, and
crazy.
it's a big deal. You know, I mean, not everybody's going to use that bread maker, you know, those fancy deals, but it's there, and people comment on how well it's stocked, even if half of them aren't even going to be used.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, you guys, is there any more questions on this?
Sorry, this is Tyler. What house number was that, Holly? Or Selena?
That's Paradise Village 107.
Yeah,
107. Cool.
you can pull it up on our website. You can kind of see
The website. Some of the reviews are on there, or you can find on VRBO. A lot of their good reviews are on there as well.
right.
Definitely one of the more popular.
We also have a suggestion amenities list as well that we feel like is really important, so we can also send that.
Okay, and I did get a question. I can't remember who it was, but they asked about what's important, amenities or decor? It was Robert. Robert asked that. Robert Hill. Are they both important?
I think so. I mean, if you don't set your home up right and have it looking killer, that's going to affect that rental rate of, you know, I mean, your rental, you know, like if somebody's
Right.
going to pass you by, right?
Yeah, pictures are a
You
big
gotta
deal.
have a great look. It's all streamlined. And like I said, they can reach out and I can give them a ballpark figure of what they would be spending on the size property that they would be working with. But literally, it's super important. And yet the amenities are as well. You kind of have to think of it as your, you know, a streamlined version of your own home, all the things that you need for the comfort level of it, but then a way to play as well.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And something Gail taught me that, you know, she's done so great at designing, but you know, some people say, well, can I get a ballpark in my head? And this isn't always perfectly true, but it's a good number. And, you know, she came up with this cool theory that most people don't know. And I'll just share some of it with you is $3,500 a room is a good basis in your head to do a pretty good job. And you don't count the bathrooms, but it's $3,500 a room. So each bedroom, say there's 5 bedrooms, that's 5 rooms. A family dining and kitchen is all a room, and an outside patio is a room. So you take that times it by 35, you'll get an idea how to do a pretty good job. Can you go over that? You bet. Can you go under it? Sure. But then Gail will guide you. Look, you don't want to go to IKEA and go way under that because you're going to be replacing it every 3 to 4 months. Some things from IKEA accessories might work, but you definitely don't want a couch. You definitely don't want a table you want to spend the money once and have it last. That's the thing she's taught me. She's really researched it. Let me give you an example. Our couches are built through a distributor, and they hold over 400 pounds per sitting area. So everybody's like, so isn't that a normal couch? Nope. A normal couch is around 200 pounds per sitting area. So you get the kids jumping around, or the big football guys jumping up and down on the TV, watching, you know, or on not the TV, jumping around on the couch. It's going to break. It's just going to be a matter of time. She has taken that headache out of it and bought vacation rental furniture that lasts. And so that's something we pride ourselves on. It's not just furniture we do vacation rental furniture. And just that couch is one example of about 40 things Gail has researched and found the best of.
Thank you, Clint.
That's perfect. That's great.
And all these things really play hand in hand with how much revenue you can make per year. So the decorations are super important because everybody is online shopping. They're just looking at the pictures of your home to see, is this someplace that I want to stay? And then they'll branch off of that and look at all of the amenities. And the amenities are huge because they're going to look at all of the homes that they feel fit them the most. And then they'll look into the amenities and say, okay, which one of these homes has the most amenities that I can use while I'm staying there?
Exactly.
I love that. Thank you. That was a great way to look at that. Absolutely love it. All right, you guys, I'm going to move on to one final subject that I have. And this is, Clint's going to be the one that's going to best help me with this one.
Oh boy, me finally.
Yes. This one's kind of a big one and it's not talked about enough in my mind. So the rumor is that the cities are starting to actually enforce the 10 occupancy unless you have sprinklers in your home. Is this true?
Unfortunately, it is true. And it's coming down to become a bigger and bigger problem. You know, and Selena could probably go off on this, but she brings up the part with the fire sprinklers and how there's situations where we'll go in to do a inspection to get your license. And because you have one extra bed from the normal number, they won't give us a license for that. And they'll end up making you pull the bed right out of your home. So
They'll check the couches.
Exactly. So it's becoming a pretty big deal. And so the trick is to, you know, if you already have a home that's not a vacation rental and you're used to sleeping 10, 12, 14, there is things coming. The only one that's been relaxed on that right now is Santa Clara. They have not come down hard. And just the opposite of that is Washington City. They've come down in a big way. And Selena's life has been a little tougher trying to deal with these fire sprinklers. They are really getting serious about it.
Right.
What's the rule around the fire sprinklers?
That,
So right now, depending on where it is, Selena, it's 10,
Yeah.
or maybe Soraya, you guys can answer the occupancy number.
Yeah, so with Washington, you are supposed to have a sign in your home that says occupancy 9, but you can only sleep up to 10. And you also have to advertise that on your listing. With the rules, you need to only have 10 beds in your home.
Can you explain what that means? Like what's a king versus a full?
Yeah, so basically just they'll count a twin as one bed, a king as two, or one bed, you just can only have 10 mattresses in your home. And there also goes into an extent that you need to have a certain fire extinguisher. You need to have maps laid out in every single bedroom showing exit routes. Washington has been a little weird though, because you're not even allowed to have storage in your owner closet underneath the stairs. So we've gotten to an extent that we've kind of prepared owners what's needs to happen, and we'll send them a list, and then we direct them to Washington City because some of the rules are crazy, and it's hard to tell owners that they can't use a closet that was built to be used. So
I got it.
I do have a quick, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll finish really quick and then I'll grab it. So the rules are though, Robert, is if you don't have sprinklers, you can sleep up to 10 people.
Correct.
You
Whether
have
it's a 2-bedroom or a 10.
Yeah, you put that
if you
in
have
your
sprinkler
home.
systems, your life is easier.
No limit. You won't have a limit on how many you can sleep. So, bigger homes are honestly, those are what you're looking at. A 3-bedroom or under, kind of like Clint said, we were talking about it the other day, and he said, you really want to think through that because that cost may not make sense if you're doing.
How is this impacting St. George, and would that affect Las Palmas and Sports Village and some of those larger complexes that have a lot of smaller units in it? What do you think the impact of that is going to be here in St. George?
So they have sprinklers.
Right.
Las Palmas and Sports Village have sprinklers in them.
I didn't realize that. Awesome. Good to know.
Yeah. So it won't affect them at all.
So just so you know, Town Center, I believe, has sprinklers. Coral Springs also has sprinklers. Coral Ridge does not. Zion Village out there does have sprinklers. So when you're purchasing or looking around, it's always good to look up and just see where you're at.
Escondido and Paseos do not have sprinkler systems.
Correct.
So give us an idea, Clint. I mean, we're not going to hold you to it or anything like that, but give us an idea of cost What would
Okay.
this cost? I mean, generally to get something
Yeah.
like this put in.
I can give you an example. We just had a 5-bedroom a client did. It's a Rambler 2-level. It has a basement in there. So it's pretty big and a little bit of work having the 2 levels. So this is based on a 5-bedroom, 2-level home. It was about $18,000 for the sprinkler kit. And that did not include any of the damage that made from cutting out sheetrock and things. And so he said it was another around 12 for that. So if you just had off the top of your head, that 20 to 30, depending on how big your home is, and usually it'll be under that, and it sounds like a lot of money, but it goes from sleeping 10 to sleeping 20. Will that make the difference? It definitely will if you have a 4, 5, 6, or 7 bedroom. If you have a 2-bedroom, you'd want to do the math and see where you're at with that, because you really can't sleep much more than 10 anyway.
And to get your house approved, you also have to get like your fire extinguisher tagged. So you actually pay somebody to go there to make sure that it's full. Some property like Tony's, private home, you have to get your sprinkler systems checked. And that ranges about $200. And then just the business license itself, it's usually about $350, $300. And then you have to renew that every single year. So you have to do it every single year to keep that and to maintain it.
Okay, that's good to know. I had no idea that you did that, but you have to do that. So does the fire station actually come out and maintain them? Like look at them?
Yeah, they'll usually check your sprinkler systems, your fire extinguisher, and they also, I'm pretty sure they have to check and log, you have to log your carbon monoxide and fire alarms as well.
Okay.
We did have one question, sorry to go back a little bit, but Kelby did ask, what about triple bunk beds as far as occupancy? She heard that they were cracking down on those. Like, are you allowed to have triple bunks? Does that matter? Does that come into occupancy at all?
You are allowed to have triple bunk beds. You just have to make that in consideration of the 10 beds limit. So that's 3 beds right there. If you're going to do a triple bunk bed, make sure they're queens, because they're only going to count the mattresses. If you're going to make them a twin, that's 3, and you lose 2-3 more people that could sleep on that bed.
That's actually a great idea. Cool. Okay. All right. Is there any questions around the sprinklers that we might have?
Tyler Hooper did have a question, but you guys answered it in that time frame, so you're good.
Nice.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, perfect. Well, you guys, I think I got everything. I went through everything. I've got everything done. The only questions that I think may not have gotten answered, I'm hoping we answered everything for Nathan on here. I was just kind of glancing through his question. So Nathan, I could probably answer that. He asked a question that says, how do you stop, now that you've got a vacation rental, how do you stop family and friends of coming in to take advantage of you and wanting it?
That wasn't Nathan.
Oh, that was another person.
Yeah, never call him out because his family and friends might be watching. I'm just kidding.
You never know.
But he was just wondering for a friend. I can answer that. And so, we have a really cool coupon code that we offer for family and friends to give them a great deal. But here at Red Sands, wink, wink, we usually are a tough guy. You say, hey, I have a property manager, they have to make their split on it, but I'll give you a deal. And you offer a discount such as a coupon. And it really, they need to understand as family and friends that, you did buy this for an investment. So you would love to give everyone a free stay, and you'll find you have 10% more friends every month because they find out you have this home. So really it comes down to using us, as the bad guy. That's the tip. Even though you can override that, we try to be that guy for you.
Yeah.
You can
and
also
we,
have
we will send a list too. We'll send a list of like peak dates and you can send it to them. Like these dates, you can't book.
Right.
You can also have a lot of different discount codes. So you can have a 10% and a 15% and a 30%. And you don't have to tell everybody you have those different codes, and you can give them out to different people that you feel fits that percentage.
Good point. Yep. That's a fun way to do it.
Robert did have a quick question. Go ahead, Robert.
So I have a brother-in-law who's looking right now, and he wants it as a second home, but it can also make some income, right? So he's more of a casual vacation rental user.
Yeah.
He prefers that it makes him money because that would be obviously, as a businessman, he wants it to make money when he's not using it, but he really wants to have control over when he comes and when he doesn't. What advice would you give to a guy like that on what to pick and where, because he would like being close to golf, but he doesn't have to be in a golf course, community. He doesn't have to be backing a golf course, right? So he likes golf. Would there be, some other options he would do? How does golf do, and what areas in particular do you know of that does better than those topics? There's quite a bit there for anybody.
Over here a bit. Go ahead.
Would you like, I'd love to answer that. Golf is a big deal down here. It works well. Like Coral Ridge, they always ask about the golfing. And so I would definitely say it's a nice spot to be in if you're a casual owner, but you're going to use it quite a bit, more than the average person. It's not just pure investment. We suggest go to someone like Selena or Soraya, and we'll give you the dates of the prime times guaranteed to book no matter what. And if you can float around them, you could still usually break even or make a little money if you do it right, and you can still have the time to use it. Some of our owners won't make money or barely break even, and they're fine with that. They got a home for free, they use it a ton, and we fill in the blanks. Totally okay, but you wouldn't want to expect a 10% return, if you did something like that. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, we have a home that does basically that. He's usually at his home about 3 times, 4 times a month. And I'm looking at his calendar now, and he usually gets about 2 to sometimes even 3 bookings a month, and sometimes it covers his mortgage, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what the peak dates and if he's actually taking over those, like if he's booking Thanksgiving and Christmas for his family. And Tyler, I did see your message. I can send those over to you.
Nathan does have a question. He raised his hand. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hey, thanks, Clint.
You betcha.
Yeah, my question's a little bit more on the marketing side. I know you go through VRBO, Airbnb, and I have my home over in Hurricane, and I just wonder, how are those homes found? I mean, people type in St. George, people type in Zion's. I don't know too many people who are going to type in Hurricane.
Right.
What is the algorithm that some of these sites use to help me get my site seen?
Yeah, so for marketing, that's when your name comes into play too. The name of your home. That's where filters come in. If you do have a private spa, so you're like, for example, for VRBO, they're gonna put St. George, but that doesn't limit your home. Your home will still come up. It just won't be on the top of the list. But that's when the filters come into play. So even though you're not on the top of the list, but they filter out private spa, then yours starts coming back up. And so it just depends on what amenities you have. And I know that with Hurricane, it is becoming an up and coming place to stay. And honestly, a lot of people like Hurricane because it's closer to Zion National Park.
Right. And another thing you can count on is, like, our websites over the years has gotten pretty big, and we get about 35% of our bookings directly. And right on it has a tab that says private homes. And a lot of people want private homes. They have a garage, they have a way to park something there. And so we do a lot of different ways. We feature listings on KSL at times and brag up those things. So it's not always the third-party channels. Being over 30% getting direct bookings is a big deal. We have about 8,000 clients that use us every year. They're returning guests, five-star guests, and we target those and market those people, saying, "Hey, come out and try this home out here. It's a new home," or it's there's little things like that we do as a property manager that really help compared to people doing it themselves. They can only really be on 1 or 2 channels, where we can be on over 100 channels and also our own website. That's really where you'll excel, especially as a private home where it's not a resort they're typing in.
Right. So I think a lot of it is basically, from what I get, is from what Selena says, is your filters is what's going to bring you to the top, not necessarily
On the
name.
third-party sites, yeah.
But your name does count. I mean,
If
if you use Zion in your name in any sort of way, generally, you're going to come up.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, in your property, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other questions that we have?
Nope, all of them have been answered.
Okay, cool. So you guys, it looks like it's about that time. So for us to kind of finish up, but I do want to thank everybody for coming to the Vacation Rental Corner. You guys are the one that helped make it successful. So I do appreciate that. And any feedback, and I loved the questions before the webinar. It was very helpful, even for me, to go through and know exactly what you guys are looking for. So I would really appreciate that. And thank you to Clint, Soraya, Gail, and Selena. I do appreciate you guys coming out and taking the time away from your guys' busy schedule to educate us a little bit more on this. So next Vacation Rental Corner will be in June. I don't have an exact date yet, so watch for those posts. I am rolling around bringing in a tax accountant and maybe talk about how we can make your property work for you. If you have any other ideas, shoot me a message, text, anything. Let me know. I would love to know what you guys want to know, and that's what I'll bring. All right, you guys, thanks for coming. And if
You're
you
welcome.
stick around and
Happy-
have more occasion, let
Thank
us
you
know.
very much.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys. Take
guys.
care.
Bye, you guys.
Hi,
Have a
everyone.
good day.
Hey, Clint, you have just a couple more minutes?
Sure. Do you want to give me a call or we could?
I don't know. So, no, I don't know if you want to keep recording. I don't know, and how you want to use that.
Sure. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, just in case somebody else wants to hear it. So
Sure.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be more on just like the business side of things for what you guys are doing at Red Sands and kind of how, because I really like this content. I think it's super helpful. And then because I'm looking at it from two lenses, both the investor themselves, but then also the realtor.
Right.
And then, you know what I mean? The people that are going to be inspired to being, hey, is this an investment knowing what's going on in the world? Is this a safe investment? Right. Because I
Right.
think there's a whole nother conversation around longevity. And then the rules in Washington, that's kind of interesting to see the hotel. They're basically making them abide by the exact same rules that the hotels do, right? So
Right.
it'll be interesting to see the fallout on the building side and what the values do over there by Grapevine Crossing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
curious.
Yeah, I would be curious too.
Because there's a bunch of big vacation rentals over there from what I've
Yeah.
So that's Paseo. That's the one you're thinking of. It's Paseo.
It should. Is that the one?
seen and
Paseo,
understand.
Huh?
What do you think? Am I losing you?
Yeah, a little bit. I lost you there for a minute.
I caught it pretty good. If you can hear me though, I think it's the Paseo Resort, right, Holly? Is that the one?
Paseo?
Off Grapevine, yeah, that is Paseo. Is that what you're talking about, those ones?
Yeah, because there's Paseo, and then I think a couple investors built some. From what I understand, there's like a couple other just independent. Am I breaking up?
No, you're not bad. I think I can answer your question, especially with agents. A lot of agents are not familiar with vacation rentals. And, Holly or such as yourself, we're all very loyal to other agents. They might have a client that really asks your agent, hey, I don't know. I want to know the numbers of this home. The most important thing is a good agent. I deal with a lot of them, a lot from Keller Williams, and they'll call me and say, Clint, I'm not familiar with this. We are happy to help any agent that calls in and say, I have a Coleridge 3-bedroom. I have no idea how it can win. Can you help me? So,
yeah,
I do that a lot with agents. So I think, the first part of your question was, how do we educate our agents to know if this is a win or if we're going to get smoked on this property because it's $1 million? And one thing that we always do is shoot straight. We won't fluff anything. We'll just say, these are the facts. And this is what other homes have done that took it to the next level, such as a hot tub or a pool or fun things like that. So there's a lot of winners still out here. And it is a little higher market than it was last year, but you can still win in a big way if you set it up right. You just can't buy one and hope it's going to all of a sudden double its rentals. If they have a rental performance sheet and you're like, oh, I can double it just because I'm buying it. That's not going to happen, unless there's certain situations where they just used it all year.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold assumption.
Yeah. So the trick is to think, okay, this one wasn't doing well, but it's a diamond in the rough. And I know that I can add a pool or a hot tub or this, and I can up that margin. That's the real education that we like to provide to agents. So they feel comfortable given the actual information from a vacational expert.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. That's interesting. There's just seems like there's a lot of developments. It's almost like on even more to your value and also Holly's value of being like an expert. If I'm a realtor, we gotta understand that there's niches that we need to be getting into. It's like luxury, but even more so, this is a whole nother layer of investment that if I'm a realtor, I don't want to make a mistake in how I advise my clients. So if I don't know, I think it makes sense to refer them to somebody that's an expert. It's like commercial too, right? I think it's a totally different vein than residential. And I think it's arrogant to say that you could do both at a high level, for your client.
No, I agree.
100%.
100%. And I feel like agents need to get a little more educated so they don't get in trouble.
Oh yeah. And that's why I'm so glad you guys are doing this. Cause you know, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. It's a different animal today than it was, you know, 5 years ago. So
Absolutely.
every agent needs to listen to this. And I think investors that are thinking about it, they got to hear, you know, the message that you guys are saying and educating on how to really do it and do it right.
Right.
Exactly.
I agree. And that's why I do this. So I'm hoping that it's a value for everybody. So
There was 13 in here. I don't know how many are still in here. 9.
Yeah.
Looks like that's
I've watched later. People come in later and watch these. They don't really love being on the live part of it. You know, it's a little not nerve wracking, but I've watched later. It gets a lot of views after people will look this up. And so we try to, whenever we join in with Holly, we want to add content that people might want to know, you know, not necessarily today, but.
yeah, you guys did a great job. This was awesome.
Thanks.
I really liked it.
thank you. Thanks, Robert. All right, you guys, I think we better. Got another.
All
appointment.
right.
Okay.
Everybody go back
All
to
right.
work. Everybody go back to work.
Okay.
Thanks you guys for coming.
See you guys.
All right.